about the math for the knife pleat skirt, or knife pleats in general, and box pleats in general. I'm really not feeling good today. I have a really bad headache, but I said I was going to do this tutorial, so I'm going to do it. The show must go on, but you're not going to see me on the camera today. I look really bad, okay? So bear with me. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the knife pleat. I decided we're going to do both, knife pleats and box pleats. Not too hard. But I'm going to start with knife pleats first because they are the easier of the two. And actually, box pleats are just knife pleats that are backed up against each other. So it's good to learn these and then come back to these. Okay, let's get on to the math. Okay. For box pleats, knife pleats, the ratio for knife pleat is a 3:1 ratio. What this means is, I hope you guys can see what I'm writing. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. What this means is 3 inches of fabric will give us 1 inch of pleats. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to use this formula. Okay, we all already know that I can't draw. So let's just pretend like this is the bottom half of a person. This is the high waist. This is high waist, or the natural waist, or whatever you want to say. This is the fashion waist. And those are going to be the hips, okay? So normally what we do is we measure 2 ways. We're either going to measure the hips and then make the skirt the size of the hip so the hips can get into the skirt, and then we put an elastic right here in the waistband to make it the size of the waist. Or we're going to measure at this point and this point, or if we want to have a high waist, we measure here, here, and here, and we make the skirt to fit those dimensions, and then we put a zipper in the back. Okay, when you have the knife pleats or the box pleats, it doesn't matter. What you're going to do is measure here only, and we put a zipper in the back. And the reason why we do that is because putting elastic in the waist after you put the pleats in is not going to work. It's going to make the skirt look distorted. But we don't have to measure the hips because the amount of fabric that goes into making these pleats are going to automatically make the dress or the skirt or whatever fit over the hips. So just to make a 1 inch knife pleat, the amount of fabric that's going to go into it is going to be 3 times the size of the waist. 3 times the size of the waist will go over the hips. So let's get started. Let's say we're working with, I don't know, a 28, no, let's go with 27, make the math easier. 27-inch waist. Plus 1 inch for ease. That will equal a 28-inch waist. Okay? Can you guys see that on the camera? Move it over this way. So in order to plug this 20 number right here, 28, into the ratio of 3:1, is we're going to make 1 inch pleats, which means we need 28 pleats. So we take the number of pleats that we need, which is 28, times the amount of fabric that we need to make that 28 pleats. And that's how many inches of fabric we're going to need. That's going to be about 84 inches, which equals about 2.3 yards. So this is how much fabric you're going to need width-wise. Length-wise, you're going to decide how long you want your skirt, and then you're going to need a 4-inch hem. So you're going to, let's say we want, okay, this is 28. Let's say we want up and down, we want 16, okay? Our finish to be 16. We're going to add 8 to that for the hem, because we want a 4-inch hem, which means 4 inches, and then we turn it under again, another 4 inches, and we have an 8-inch right there, but it's a 4-inch hem. So 16 plus 8 is 24. So remember that. Width-wise is the formula 3:1 ratio. For length, up and down, it's whatever the length you want to be plus 8 inches. That's what we want for the finished measurement, because we're going to have a 4-inch hem. And the reason why we want this 4-inch hem, I'm writing, you guys can't even see. The reason why we want this 4-inch hem is because the bigger the hem, the more weight at the bottom of the skirt, and the nicer it drapes. It keeps it from being all limp against the body. Okay, this is our ratio for the knife pleats. Let's go ahead and move to the box pleat. Okay? Box pleats. Okay, the ratio for the box pleat is a 4:2 ratio. And what that means is 4 inches of fabric equals 2 inches of pleat. Okay, and the reason why we're going with a even number is because a box pleat is just 2 knife pleats put together. So it's always going to be a 4:2 ratio, because you need 1 inch on this side and 1 inch pleat, knife pleat. Okay, hold on. Let me draw this thing here. You guys know I can't draw. Let's pretend like this is the pleat. The pleats meet in the middle like that on the back. It's okay, so this side is going to be 1 inch. And this side is going to be 1 inch. So that makes a 2-inch pleat. And it takes 4 inches of fabric to make that. So let's go ahead and work with the same waist measurement. So we're going to work with a waist measurement of 28 inches. Okay? And the way we figure that out is we take 2 inches and we divide it into 28 to see how many pleats we can wind up with. Okay? So 28 divided by 2 is 14. Okay? 14 pleats is how many pleats we can get out of 28 inches of a waist. Now, to figure out how much fabric we need to make 14 pleats is we're going to multiply that by 4. So 14 times 4. And the answer to that would be 4 times 4 is 16. 4, it will be 56 inches of fabric. And that will come up to about let's say 1.6 yards. A little bit less than that, but to be safe, 1.6 yards of fabric. That's what you would need. Oh, I didn't even do that on camera. Let's do it again. We're working with a 28-inch waist. In order to see how many pleats we can make out of 2 inches, out of 2-inch pleats, we're going to divide that by 2. Comes out to 14 pleats. Okay, to see how much fabric we need to make these 14 pleats is we're going to take 14 and multiply that by 4, because remember, the ratio is 4 inches of fabric makes 2 inches of pleats. So since we're going to make 14 2-inch pleats, times that by 4, and we need 56 inches of fabric widthwise, and that comes out to about 1.6 yards. Lengthwise is the same as a knife pleat skirt, so lengthwise we want our length plus, this is width, our length plus 8 inches is our total. Okay, now that we have the formula down for the box pleat and the knife pleat, I'm going to take you over to my ironing board and I'm going to show you how I mark these. But the first thing you want to do, and I'm not making a full-size skirt in this video, I'm just showing the process of how to make the pleats itself. After you make the pleats, the skirt on how you put the zipper in and the waistband, it's the same as any other skirt, but what you want to do is try to put the zipper to where it's hitting behind a pleat, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I get started to show you how to do it. But when you make your skirt, the first thing you want to do is hem it first. Always hem it first, and then you put in your pleats. So let me take you over to my ironing board and get me some scrap fabric out, and we'll get started. One moment. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off showing how to make a knife pleat. Remember, we're doing 1-inch pleats, guys. So the things you're going to need is your fabric. I have a scrap piece of fabric here that I'm going to pleat. We're going to pretend like it's already been hemmed. You're going to need your iron and some starch, spray starch, and some pins. Okay, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this down, and I'm going to iron it using the directions it says to use for your spray. Now some spray starches say use steam and other ones say no steam. So whatever yours says do, that's what you do. And I'm going to iron that down, make sure it's nice and crisp. Okay. Sorry about that interruption. Okay. That was my phone. Yes, I have a weird ringtone, I know, guys. But anyway, I'm going to start like this. I've already put a line here to mark where my seam allowance would be. And that's where I'm going to start my measurement. And what we're going to do is we're going to make 3 measurements. Remember, we're going to make our measurements all 1 inch apart. But the reason why I'm making 3 different kinds of measurements is because of the action we have to do to make the pleat. So first thing we're going to do is line up with our seam allowance, and we're going to make our marks from there. There's 1. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm just marking it now. And then I'm going to come back and make the lines down. You can do it like that, or you can take your ruler, line it up on top of the seam allowance line, just like this, the 1 inch mark, and you have an inch on this side. This line here is on top of my seam allowance line. So line that up, and I'm going to make my first, oh, I don't know if you guys can see that. Since it's scrap fabric, I may as well use an ink pen. You're going to make the marks on the right side of the fabric. So whatever you use, make sure it's washable. I usually use a sliver of bath soap when I do this. But for the sake of the video, and this is scrap fabric that I'm going to give to Beauty to play with anyway, we're going to do it like this. This is your first line. Make it like this. The second line is your first fold line. Now I like to mark the fold line with dashes like this. See that? The third line we're going to make is also a fold line. So I'm going to mark that with dashes as well. And the fourth line is a solid line, which will be the fold of your pleat. Okay, let's do that again. I'll let you guys see it. Solid, dash line, pleat. So when going with the pattern, it's going to be another dashed line and another dashed line and another solid line. And you're going to do this over the entire piece of fabric. Make sure that your markings are even, okay? So now that we have our lines marked, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this solid line, well actually you're going to take this here dashed line here, and you're going to fold it like this. This goes to here, okay? Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me get back on camera again. This here solid line is going to meet this dashed line. This is going to be the fold on the inside. So you take this line and it's going to go like the solid line and match it up to the second dashed line, okay? So this, you're going to skip this line, go over to the second dashed line, okay? And when you iron it, you should have a fold right here. This fold is this line right here. So that's your first fold. So fold it this way, iron on the fold. It's going to be a lot of ironing, pressing the entire process. That's crisp. And now you're going to iron this down, and that's our first pleat. We ironed it down. We're going to put a pin in it to hold it in place, and we're going to do it again. Okay, take this solid line and meet it to this line. So the first fold on the outside is going to be right here. So take that, meet it to the second fold. You see that? This to the second fold. Okay, turn it over, iron, Okay. Iron again. And put your pin in it. See how the fabric, the size of the fabric has been reduced? One more time. This is our solid line. This is our first dash line. This is our third dash line. Well, solid, dash, dash. This is going to be pleated to the outside, wrong side of the fabric. This is going to be where we meet our solid line to make our next pleat. Just like that. See there? And you can probably, if you have glass pins, glass head pins, I have plastic head pins, but if you have glass head pins, you can go ahead and pin this now. And then you can iron it. And you can iron on this side. And you want to iron on both sides, not just the front side, so you can get a good crease. And I don't have glass head pins right now because I didn't think about getting those out like I should have. So I'm not going to do that, iron with the pins in, because then this plastic head right here would melt. And you don't want to do that, so I'm doing it this way. Because I think most of us have the plastic head pins anyway. But if you're going to be sewing a lot, I suggest you invest in the glass head pins, because they're not that much more and they are worth it in the end. So I'm going to do one more marking so we can pleat this one up. I'm lining my 1-inch line on top of the solid line. And I'm going to make a dash and another dash. Okay, and we're going to take the solid line, we're going to skip this first dash line, meet it up to the second dash line. There we go. We're going to, well, I'm going to iron this side first just to get it to stay a little bit, to mark my pleat on the other side. And we're going to iron that side, iron this side, and we're going to put a pin in it. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to go across and you want to baste all of your pleats before you do anything else. Baste all of your pleats. And if you're one of those persons who want to have it to sew the pleats down, if you have like a light fabric, what you can do is you can sew from here all the way down like a really close edge stitch on this here fold on the front of the pleat, and that would keep that fold in its shape. So if you have a lightweight, medium weight fabric, you can do that. But this is this is decorated fabric that I'm using here, and it's a heavyweight medium to heavyweight fabric, so I wouldn't have to sew those pleats in to make them stay nice and crisp. They'll stay that way as long as I iron them pretty good when I'm making the project. But what I like to do is I like to start here after I stay stitch. But no, I'm sorry, before I baste across. What I like to do is I like to sew from here down an inch, like on top of, not pick it up like this, but sew it from here down an inch, from here down an inch, from here down an inch, down an inch, and then I will go baste across. I like to do that because I just like the way it looks. You don't have to do that, but I like the way it looks when the skirt of the pleat is held down from here to here, and then the pleat is free like this. Okay, now when I come back, We'll go ahead and show you on this fabric right here how to do the box pleat and the inverted box pleat. They're basically the same thing. The only difference is on a box pleat, on a box pleat, you make the pleats on the back. On an inverted box pleat, you make the pleats on the front. So when I come back, we'll go ahead and do that. I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay guys, I'm back. We're going to go ahead and make the box pleat. The first one I'm going to show you is the inverted box pleat, and that's when we make the markings on the front, just like we did the knife pleat. And I'm going to show you how we do that. On the box pleat, we mark the same way, except for we have more dashed lines. So our first solid line, okay, move over 1 inch, line up this solid line with the 1 inch line on your ruler, and make a dashed line that indicates an inside fold. And then we're going to move over again, and we're going to make another dashed line to indicate an inside fold, just like we did on the knife pleat. But on the box pleat, we move over again and make a third line that's dashed to indicate an inside fold. Move over one more time again, and we make a solid line. See that? So solid, dash, 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 solid. And you can see how the 4:2 ratio is. See, we have 4 inches of fabric. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we fold this, it's going to make a 2-inch pleat. So once again, I'm going to go on the other side and show you again. Well, actually, yeah, show you again. We're going to, well, let me fold it because I want to show you on the other side how to do the box pleat. So if we're making an inverted box pleat, we take the solid line, we skip the first dash line, we go to the second dash line, just like we did with the knife pleat. We're going to iron this side, iron this, hold on, my pleat is not actually even. Try it again. We're going to iron this side, open it up, iron the back, and we're going to put a pin in it. And it's just like a knife pleat. But the other side, to make the inverted box pleat, we're going to do the same thing but in the opposite direction. So we take the solid line, skip this dotted line, and bring it to the same dotted line that this one was in, just like that. We're going to iron, fold over this way, press again, and we're going to put our pin in it, and you'll see that's one box pleat that's been made, and inverted box pleat because the pleat is actually on the other side. So if you turn it over, you can see where the box pleat has been made. So depending on what look you want, if you want this box pleat to be on the other side, all you're going to do is make your markings on the wrong side of the fabric, which would be solid, 1 dash line, 2 dash lines, 3 dash lines, another solid. And we're going to do what we did on the other side, which is take the solid line, meet it, skip the first dash line, meet it to the second dash line. Iron it down. Do the same thing, take the solid line, skip the first dash line, go to the dash line in the middle. And now you have the inverted pleat on this side. And you have the box pleat on the front, if you can see that. And we're going to do just like we did on the other. We're going to baste across. If you want it to have that look where you have this part of the skirt ironed down and this part free flowing, you're going to sew down an inch here, like onto the fabric. And just like the knife pleat, if you have a lightweight fabric, you might want to edge stitch all the way down these pleats to make sure that they stay in the skirt after you wash it. If that's not a problem because you have a heavyweight fabric, if you press it really well, and I mean press really well, and then these pleats will stay after you wash. So the next step you're going to do is put the waistband on and put the zipper. Now when I do my zippers, here's a knife pleat. Again, look how nicely that's pleated there. Wish you guys could see it in person because it's pretty solid now that it dried from the starch and everything. I put my seam allowance here, and I try to get my zipper on the inside underneath one of the pleats. So if I have my seam allowance here and I put my zipper on that seam allowance, it's going to fall like this. The zipper would be under the pleat and it would be completely hidden, just like an invisible zipper, but you're not exactly using an invisible zipper. All right, so that's that. That's how you make the inverted pleat, the box pleat, and even on the box pleat, put the zipper in here in the seam allowance. The same with the inverted box pleat. Put the zipper in the seam allowance, and the zipper will be completely hidden underneath one of the pleats. Okay, so don't forget to put a 4-inch hem before you pleat. Don't forget to do a lot of ironing. Invest in the glass bead, the glass head pins. If you can, you know, they're not that much more than the plastic head, so, and they don't melt on your iron. And also another tip was the put the zipper behind the pleat to baste and then put on the waistband. Okay guys, I hope this is what you guys were looking for when I said I would do this tutorial on how to make these pleats. And oh, I didn't show you on the knife pleat. I'm going to take one out. Let's show you. Just like on the box pleat, where you can see the 4:2 ratio, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. And these make up, let me put the pins back in it. These make up a 2-inch pleat. See, 1, 2, and this is the pleat right here. So that's why you have a 4:2 ratio. So always keep with the 4:2 ratio and your pleats will come out awesome. Okay, just like you have on the box pleat with the 4:2 ratio, I showed you that. I've taken this pleat out. Let's look at the 3:1 ratio. So you have 1 inch, hold on. You have this, well, let's start here. 1 inch, you have your solid line, that's 1 inch right there, and the dotted dash line, 2 inches right there, another dash line, and then a solid line, that's 3 inches. So when you take this solid right here. We're counting with this solid. This is inside, this is inside. You have 1, 2, 3. And it makes a 1-inch pleat. See that? There it is. Bring it this way. There's the 1 inch, and this is the pleat. So now you understand how, in practical application, how the 3:1 ratio works for the knife pleat, and the 4:2 ratio works for the box pleat. Okay, there you have it, guys. Now, if you need to see a video on how to make the actual skirt, I will do that. But for right now, this was a technical video, and I hope this helps you, because the rest is up to you how you design it. Now, one more thing I can show you on the box pleat, which is really cool. If you want to make this part of the pleat on an inverted pleat a different fabric, you can. All you have to do is have 2 inches of fabric on the inside. That's a different color. Let me see if I can show you. Let me see those scissors, Beauty.
Okay.
Let me see if I can show you guys how it would look if you do that. Okay. Beauty, move that off of there. Okay, one moment. That's 1 inch. That's 2 inches. Okay, let's pretend like this is another contrasting piece of fabric. We're going to sew it. We're going to cut right here. We're going to sew, and then add the other main fabric on top. So let's just pretend like that's a contrasting piece of fabric that we sewed together. Now, when we pleat it, okay, we're going to put our pins in. And now when you wear the skirt, you have this main fabric on the outside, and then you have the contrasting fabric on the inside that shows kind of like this when you walk. Isn't that cute? And I actually have a video on how to make a box pleat upcycled denim skirt just like this. It has the denim on the outside, and it has a contrasting different color denim on the inside. I will put the link to that video on the upcycled skirt, which also shows how to make this box pleat, the inverted box pleat, on the video. I'll put the link to that video in the description box below. I actually already have a very old video on how to make the knife pleat skirt that my son actually did for me a few years back. I'll put the link to that in the description box as well. If you guys want to see me make an actual knife pleat or a box pleat skirt from start to finish, which includes putting the 4-inch hem, putting the pleats, taking the measurement, putting the waistband on, the zipper, I'll do that. Just let me know in the comments section. But until then, guys, this was a technical video, so I hope you enjoyed it, and happy sewing.
But you will be doing this and this and this, and this is the formula. This the formula. I mean, this the formula. This the insert, and this is the pleat skirt that we'll be making.